You're watching In Focus. The Department of Home Affairs is planning to overhaul the country's immigration system, including the method used for granting permanent residency. Minister Leon Schreiber and his team briefed Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs about challenges facing the department. We had to answer questions on white paper on citizenship, immigration and refugee protection. Chairperson of that Portfolio Committee, Mosa Chabane, joins us for more. Mosa Chabane, I appreciate your time. Now, a number of issues, obviously, around this white paper. And one of the things it proposes is a points-based system for permanent residency applications. Can you unpack what criteria will be used to award points and how this aligns with South Africa's economic and social needs? But more importantly, maybe a general overview of where we are with this white paper.
Thanks very much, and good evening to you and your viewers, and thanks for inviting us. You recall that in the sixth administration, Minister Newzroom in 2020 did present in his budget vote the indication or the intention to overhaul the migration system in the country. And that process underwent through the executive. And this is a draft policy framework to respond to that question. And since then, the seventh administration, we have just invited the minister and the deputy minister to give us an update on the process and also on the time frame that will be tabling a bill to Parliament. You recall that this draft policy framework is now sitting with the executive. At the point that the bill has been brought to Parliament, we still have to consult with the public, get input. But I think some of the issues that I've highlighted is the matter that we're raising. They're introducing, the intent to introduce the issue of a point-based system in terms of the application of visa, work visa in the country.
Now, would you give us an overview of how that conversation went? You know, what were some of the key takeaways for you from that interrogation, if you will, with the minister and his team?
Well, we're quite convinced that the issues that were raised by members of the committee in terms of the areas of progress that were raised by the department in relation to this white paper, it includes the matter that we've been raised of the points that determine the application of visas, including the status of foreign nationals, the application residency. As you recall, that there was an initiative of a one-stopper border post throughout in the border post in our country. Those are some of the issues that highlights and the progress that we're taking off, and we hope that once the bill has been presented to Parliament, members of the committee and the public will interact with that. Secondly is that currently the refugee centers are throughout within the country, and this white paper also attempt to introduce the refugee centers that must be located in our border areas. And these are some of the progressive areas that in the sixth administration the executive has highlighted to the committee.
Now, one of the key goals is to attract foreign nationals with critical skills, yet concerns have been raised about unemployed local graduates, right? Now, how will the government ensure that this policy doesn't disadvantage South African citizens with similar qualifications?
Well, at the time that the bill has been brought to table to Parliament, we'll be able to interface comprehensively on the subject. But what arises from the committee meeting, the deliberation we had with the minister, it suggests that the areas of concerns, which I think are highlighted on the white paper, is that there must be a mechanism to strengthen the limits of to protect jobs of South Africans. There was an example that was cited that some companies from outside the country come to South Africa in the construction area, and you have people who can have constructions capacity to can build or skills that can be found in the country. So some of those issues are highlighted in the white paper, and we think that at the time that the bill has been tabled in Parliament, we'll be able to have a comprehensive discussion with the ministry or with the executive. But also members of the public will have an opportunity to strengthen the proposed areas in the bill.
Mr. Chabane, you raised the issue of some of those construction companies coming into the country where there is labour available locally. There's also labour available locally in the restaurant business. Now, there were a number of arrests that took place at a restaurant, a Tang restaurant, somewhere in Sandton, where immigrants who obviously are not critically skilled were arrested. Is this one of those issues that you're speaking to?
Those are some of the interventions that the public have been raising with the members of parliament and also with the executive. And we're quite happy that the executive is beginning to respond quietly to those issues, particularly on the area of immigration officers of Home Affairs and also collaboration with the Department of Labour. And these are the progressive areas of we can appreciate as the committee. And once these policies or legislation has been will be passed by Parliament, therefore it will be an enforcement for us, for members, for the executive, to strengthen these issues that we're raising. But I think we're highly appreciative on the intervention. And this is a demonstration of the work that is underway, both the executive and also the Parliament and the legislation that we're putting in place.
Now, the one issue that I find quite interesting is the introduction of the first safe country principle, right, which could drastically change how asylum seekers are admitted into South Africa. What criteria will determine whether a country is deemed and safe, and how this will impact South Africa's obligations under international refugee law? Because this first safe country principle means asylum seekers will be expected to seek refuge in the first safe country they enter before reaching South Africa.
Remember that South Africa is also part of the global signed treaties in how migration conducted throughout the country, and these are some of the issues that are being raised in the white paper, which is an important provision that we need to consider as we converse once the Parliament or the Portfolio Committee is going to be given an opportunity to interface with the proposals that are arising from the white paper. As we stand now, the draft policy give framework in terms of the development of the bill. We still have to be consulted, and also cabinet may need to interface with the draft bill. So those are some of the issues that are considerable and also to be taken into the discussions once the bill has been tabled to Parliament. We're quite convinced that the Portfolio Committee and the Parliament will be able to interface with these subject matters once being brought to our attention.
Mr. Chabane, how intense do you expect this process to be? And obviously South Africa is in a clear sort of situation in that it is the economic hub of not just Southern Africa, but of Africa. So whilst individuals that are coming out of the DRC or coming out of Ethiopia or elsewhere may come into contact with several countries before they reach South Africa, there isn't an economic haven similar to South Africa. So whilst those countries might be safe in terms of if a refugee is fleeing war, but economically there is no provision.
The central area is that both security of the country and also economic growth are important in this process of engaging on the white paper. And I think that is a major matter that I think we're highlighting in this, or is highlighted by the executive to the committee. And I think we must be able to understand that once the interface with the has been reached with the cabinet, and the cabinet has approved the bill and tabled to Parliament, will able to comprehensively reflect on details and how will be the contribution of the committee and in consideration by the House, so that we're able to legislate for policy directive.
Now, the extension of temporary visa concessions highlights ongoing backlogs in processing applications. What are the immediate plans to address the backlog, and can we expect further delays in the future?
Well, you will not expect further delays if you have carefully listened to both the deputy minister and the minister outlining the process. And this is one of the time frame that we've given the ministry in terms of the processing this white paper and is developing the bill so that some of the issues that we're raising were able to mitigate. And I don't think that there will be the possibility of a backlog because existing policy implementation are underway at Department of Home Affairs, and some of the intervention are attempting to respond to the issues that were raised. But I was convinced that the work that has been established in the sixth administration and the current work that the minister is carrying will able to assist us collectively to move away from the backlog that have been identified by the department.
And finally, Mr. Chabane, how far do you think this white paper is from public comment?
Well, it's up to the executive in terms of the process, the time frame that is going to interface with. But as the committee and the agency, in terms of bringing this matter to Parliament, I think the process has to be dealt with by the executive. We've also briefed that there's legal opinion that has been sought in terms of the process that is underway. And I think once Cabinet has satisfied itself with the process and the bill has been approved, they'll table it to Parliament. But I think we're convinced that the time frame that we've engaged with the minister, I think they will be able to respond to the issues that the members of Parliament or the committee have raised. But I'm satisfied that now that we have been briefed, update and submissions for members of the committee for them to consider in terms of finalizing this bill is important. But I think we're able to get to the conversation once the bill has been tabled before Parliament and referred to the Portfolio Committee for consideration.